God gave me a vision as I was preparing to be here today. I knew back in March of this year that I was going to be here, that God had asked me to be here. But what I didn't know was what I was going to be speaking about. As the days turned into weeks, the weeks turned into months, and the anxiety started to build because I still didn't know what God was asking me to share. It wasn't until I was in the middle of a shower and I had a good soap happening in my hair, all wet, when God gave me this vision. In that moment, I knew that I needed to get out of the shower, grab my phone, and start writing this down. Even though I was alone in the shower, I felt seen in that moment. God saw me. God showed me a woman in a dark room. She was kneeling on the floor, and I could tell that she was carrying some heavy burdens. As I started watching her, I noticed that she was full of labels. Regret, daughter, anxiety, defeat, but there was one label that stood out to me. It's my favorite label. Mom. Oh, I've always wanted to be a mom. As far back as I can remember, all I ever wanted to be was a mom. Every high school crush that I had, I was convinced that he was the man of my dreams and we were going to get married and start our family. It's no surprise that today I have 5 beautiful girls. I met my husband 15 years ago. We fell in love and started our family right away. Some of my favorite comments when we go out in public are, do you own a TV? Do you know how babies are made? Obviously we own a TV. Here's a pro tip. Turn on their favorite movie and lock the door. Being a mom is all I ever wanted to be. I love every part of it. I love that my 13-year-old feels comfortable talking to me about things that she faces as she's getting older. I love that my 11-year-old watches me and looks up to me as her role model. I love that my 9-year-old will stop me in the middle of whatever I'm doing just to give me a hug. I love that my desk is overflowing with pictures from my 4-year-old. And I even love that I barely fit in my bed at night when my 3-year-old comes crawling into our bed and nearly pushes me out of the bed. I always imagined that my family and my life would be like a Hallmark movie. Obviously, we would go caroling together, sit in a sleigh, riding the sleigh ride together, and of course, there would never be any arguing or fighting. But my picture-perfect dream came crashing down in 2020. We are in the middle of a pandemic. The world was full of uncertainty, fear, and anxiety. Our youngest at the time was 5 months old. I remember waking up January 1st of 2020. I had a suspicion that I was pregnant. It was New Year's Day, and my husband had been out the night before drinking. This wasn't anything new. He had struggled for a long time with addictions and alcohol. As soon as I took the test, it turned out positive. And I remember telling him, before I took the test, that if it was positive, I wanted to consider abortion. That broke my mommy heart, because all I ever wanted was my kids, a family. I was so embarrassed that I had let myself be so careless. I resented my husband because it felt like he just didn't see me. Why can't he just see that I'm struggling and drowning? I was so angry with God. God, can't you see that my marriage is falling apart? Why would you allow me to have another child in the middle of this? Why doesn't anyone see me. I felt guilty that so many women struggle with infertility. And in that moment, God had given me another child to love and to carry. I decided to keep the pregnancy. It was at a doctor's appointment, like many other times, normal routine checkup. And the doctor came in and she said, "How are you doing?" It was in that moment that somebody finally saw me. I broke down in the middle of her office, crying because for once somebody saw me. I can't even tell you what I was feeling that day, but I ugly cried. 1 in 8 women are likely to struggle with postpartum depression, and nearly 50% of women go undiagnosed. I was always the strong friend, the one that somebody would go to for advice, encouragement. I was in a position that I'd never been in. I was broken. Can you relate? You give and you give and you give and you pour out until there's nothing left. And all you want is for someone to see you. Matthew 6:34 says, "So don't worry for tomorrow will bring its own worries." Do not fear is written in the Bible 365 times. That is enough times for every day of the year. 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you." When I got home that day, I sat at the end of the bed and I just cried. God, I can't do this. I can't make my husband change. I don't think that I can even be enough to the girls that I have. I can't do this anymore. In that moment, I heard God say, "My child, you don't have to do it alone." I made a choice that day. I made a choice to heal so that my girls didn't have to heal from a broken mom. I made the choice to heal so that my girls had a lifetime of happiness and memories with me. I made the choice to heal so that my marriage had a chance at restoration. I want you to understand that everybody's healing journey is different. It's not always steady. It's not always as fast. And I would be lying if I didn't say that I had a lot of anxiety leading up to being here today. But fear, anxiety, and depression no longer have a hold on me. Yes. Psalms 118:14 says, "The Lord is my strength, my song. He has given me victory." I recently went through a course that has helped me change my outlook on myself. And I want you to take some of my affirmations from my mission statement and repeat them to yourself. Will you say them with me? Yes. I am a warrior.
I am a warrior.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
I was created by God to do hard things.
I was created by God to do hard things.
Thank you. I want you to repeat those to yourself. Write them on your mirror. Put them on your lock screen. You are here for a purpose. You are in this room for a purpose. And I'm confident that you're going to leave this event feeling changed, feeling lighter than what you came in through those doors. When you walk out those doors, leave your baggage, leave your labels in this room. Do you remember the woman in the vision? As I continued to watch her, I noticed a man standing in front of her. And I noticed that all of these labels, the woman was me. The man standing in front of her was God. And he said, "Child, let go of those labels." As she started releasing those labels, the weight and the burden that she'd been carrying fell off. She is finally free to be who God has called her to be. Ladies, leave those labels in this room and be who God has called you to be.